Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the SAP. As always, your boy Dave, Neal, and Tasha Courtney.
Hello.
Wow, that was a chipper.
Cheerio.
Doesn't it feel strange to give an intro when we've been literally together for 9 months straight during this quarantine pandemic of ours? We haven't moved, folks. We're still here.
We really haven't. We did a little decorating for the holidays, but yeah, we've just been in our apartment for months on end.
I tell you what, I would say we are on a thriving stage of the 2020 year, sort of like ending it relatively strongly. We survived Christmas, which I think might be a deal breaker for a lot of couples this quarantine.
I don't know. I mean, I think hopefully by now lots of people have kind of like worked out the kinks. Like I'm sure there were couples back in March who like both of them worked 9-to-5 jobs in an office and the only time that they spent together was like a few hours each evening, you know, and maybe they had dance class or pottery or like went to the gym, you know, maybe it was even more limited than that. And when you're setting your routines, you know, someone throws a wrench in it.
Well,
What's
for
this
me,
dog doing?
The dog's going nuts. I don't know. He thinks they have food or something. The dog's underneath us. We're in the home studio. For me, it was tough because I'm so like goal driven, and when you're in the apartment, I don't feel like I can get anything done, whether it's your fault or not. I feel like it's like playtime. So without having like a designated workplace to go to, I just wasn't. I don't know. Like I wasn't able to kind of like get to that spot. So but when you started going back to work, I would start being like, all right, Tasha's going to be gone for 4 hours. I can get twice as much done with you not here.
Yeah, it's well, I think I guess if I compare, like we figured out what worked for us, right? We kind of got in a groove, realizing that like we've talked about this before on the podcast, that I do a lot of work on my phone or on my iPad, and you do a lot of work on your computer because you're editing, but you also do a lot of non-work. You watch YouTube videos, whatever.
But I try to do that when I'm like washing dishes. That's like my passive thing to do.
Sure, but I think we figured out the difference between like fooling around on our phone, tablet, computer, and working on our phone, tablet, and computer. And I think we worked out sort of, not necessarily consciously, I think we kind of worked out a schedule. Like when I would see that you were editing or doing something, I would also do editing or blog writing or whatever, so that we could kind of be productive at the same time, so that when we were both fried at the end of the day, then we could just have hangout time together. And we kind of like aligned our schedules in that way.
I did a good deed today by telling you I'm going to make a video. It's going to be done by this amount of time. So, because I feel like for you, like sometimes I know, all right, this video is going to take me 2 hours to bang out, blah, blah, blah. I'll be done after that. You know, sometimes it goes longer or whatever, but I have a general idea. And for you, you just see me working and you don't know if this is going to be a whole thing, or you wiping up my Sunday.
I don't know what the end time, the out time is going to be.
Oh, and for vlogmas, we'll do a quick recap. And for our podcast only listeners, we've invested a lot of time into, and I say we, and I do appreciate all of your support, but when it comes to the back end, it's me. I mean, you found me sleeping on my laptop, just like passed out, and I wake up like, oh, finishing work. Like I've literally just been like that. It's like been my version of like grad school trying to like pass the bar exam has been me trying to make 25 videos 25 days in a row.
And I mean, I had every ounce of faith that you could do it, but I am surprised by how quickly it went. I mean, I guess we're getting old. That 25 days, a whole month just flies by. Like I feel like we literally just got the Christmas decorations up, and I know that we put them up the day after Thanksgiving because that's how I am. But I guess that is only a month.
I'm already preparing for 2021 Vlogmas. I'm already, it's a runaway train, and this is life. It's a runaway train, and the idea is how can we lasso it so that we can sort of build that momentum, because as time slips by, you build this resentment and go, where did my life go? I wanted to write a book. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So I did want to let people know we're going to talk about goal setting in a really cool way for leading up to next year. Because my whole thought with New Year's is like, it's nice to hit the ground running and not be like, all right, it's New Year's 1st. It's January 1st. I'm hungover. Well, let's get Chinese food and talk about the year.
I think it's important to set a plan. And in addition to setting a plan, I think it's important to have like an honest end of year sort of recap. Like, I think it would be smart for us as we set our plans for 2021, set our goals for 2021, to have a sort of end of year, like, Review. Yeah, an audit. Yeah. Like what did we do well? What did we accomplish that we're super proud of? Where do we feel like we fell short? Where could we improve for next year?
2020 to me feels like we went into this like a gymnast, like super strong, ready for the Olympics, ready to go. And then on my first floor routine, I just broke my knee. Just broke it. But it happened so early on that I was able to recover and actually become stronger in some ways. I mean, you know, for me, my YouTube quadrupled in an instant. And when you look at the charts, it's like, it's not where I want it to be, but it is certainly in a direction that I can sleep at night knowing, all right, this is, and with Vlogmas, the idea, and it's like, if you want to lose weight, go sign up for a 5K tomorrow or whatever, because the second you're putting yourself out there to do something where there's a little bit of framework around it, that's why people love the Spartan races, which they took a big hit this year because all the Spartan races and all that, they, you know, haven't been able to do any of them. But the idea of having the community support you and setting your goals out there for others to see gives you that sort of desire to fulfill it, because it's like, I said I was gonna.
It's holding you accountable. Yeah. And sometimes people undermine themselves, like saying they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I think different methods work better for different people. Like, sometimes you really just need to grind in private and then show your accomplishments or your.
That doesn't work for me.
No, I agree. I think, well, I guess it sort of depends on the task, but I know, like, there's no way I'm going to work out every single day unless I am posting a 30-day challenge on Instagram. Like, there's, you know.
It's a way to, like, incorporate your ego into the mix and go, all right, look, I know I can't go without sugar, so I'm going to set up a 24-hour live stream on that cookie jar, and if anyone catches me, and it's worked well for people with addiction, Alcoholics Anonymous. We looked at it with The Bachelorette with Zach, the winner of The Bachelor. I say winner. He proposed to Tasha, and they are living together in New York, and we actually really like them together. But he's an addiction specialist. He's been sober for 9 years, and you know, first of all, you got everyone accusing him of drinking on the show because he's having like sparkling cider or something, like, you know. I digress. But the point is you find a community that of other addicts, you find a community of people that share the same struggles, and it makes it so much more bearable. Like, you're not alone. And when it comes to pursuing our dreams, we're not alone in the fact that we're in a world that has let a lot of people down, including us, as far as the old golden, you know, American dream. It let us down. We couldn't begin to work hourly and expect to save enough for a home. It'll pass us by. I'm not going to even make it political. The whole thing let us down. What can we do on the short? We can control that we start raising, you know, our reach and how much. Are you done adjusting the arms?
No, I'm full.
Driving me insane over here.
Babe,
you're over there doing this flamingo dance as I'm trying to go on a rant. What the hell is wrong with you?
All right, well, I'm nearly done now.
Anyway, so yeah, it's about holding ourselves accountable. And I don't even mean that in a discouraging way. Like, I bought the 90-day screenplay, and I'm on like I've been on day 22 for about 18 to 25 days now.
Yeah, but you also committed yourself to Vlogmas, so it's kind of like you can't stretch yourself too thin. Sometimes you just got to work on one thing at a time.
Vlogmas was so easy.
Took up every bit of your time, though.
It wasn't Vlogmas. It was the 5 other videos a week of content I was making. That was just incredible. But a big shout out to everyone who supported me. It was incredible. And Tasha, as you guys know, for the audio only people, you got to check out Vlogmas Day 24. We opened up presents from Jen Murphy and in Canada, and we got gifts from people all over, and how thoughtful, and it really was amazing. And of course, I can't not thank the Patreon and just the podcast community in general, from Ben to Vicky and Oz and everybody that exists in that world that has supported us. I mean, you can't even begin to quantify what somebody's $5 donation means, because when you add a couple of those up, it buys this, and that leads me to the next thing, and then I got to invest in the $100 cord, and then at the time I was like, and I know whenever I buy a cord, you're always looking at me like, do you really need this? And I got to like sell it to you. And as I'm selling it to myself, and I'm like, well, the cord says it'll get me to be able to live stream from here to do that. And if I can just spend $100 to create more content, that thing paid for itself 2 days later, you know? So it's about like finding ways to invest in yourself. But what I've been coming back to is a lot of the mantras about people saying, if something doesn't bring you joy or happiness, just find a way to either work it out of your life or find a way to enjoy what you do. And in the book we're going to talk about, which is an amazing gratitude journal, which we started today. I'll say it more less than, it's part gratitude, but part like a self-actualizing journal. You know, they have a Wayne Dyer quote, which is, when you change the way you look at things change. And down to the atomic level, when you start to look into things more closely, they act differently. And that's how it works with positivity and love, and not treating like what you do as a chore. And Tasha calls me out on this all the time for talking about my hustle today. You know, you said, well, you shouldn't call it the grind if it's something that, you know, there needs to be a more positive word. And I could defend my use of the word grind. There is a nostalgia I have to like gutting it out, but not in the way where it doesn't serve you. Gutting it out and being prideful of all the hours you put in doesn't mean much if those hours aren't towards a dream of yours and don't kind of possess that energy of love.
Yeah, I've said on the podcast on more than one occasion that I really hate the trope of the starving artist, because I think it does us a disservice who are in creative work, that it's almost like conditioned us to think that we have to pay our dues, that we have to put in endless amounts of unpaid hours before we deserve success. And I don't agree. I don't think that's true. I think it's just as easy for things to come easy as they should, as it is for things to be hard. So I don't like to use the word, especially when we're talking about manifesting or law of attraction. They talk about words and feelings a lot, right? Like experts in manifesting or law of attraction talk about like making sure that the feelings that you're associating with your wants and desires are aligned with the outcome. Right. So instead of saying like,
I'm sick of being sick and tired, that would be a negative way to
those
say
are negative words.
I'm enjoying all the health that's coming to me.
Or like, I'm tired of being so broke. Like you need to reframe it. Like I am wealthy. Right.
I've got my health,
you
my
need
wealth.
to always, when you're manifesting or doing mantras, to like make sure that your words have a positive connotation. So for me, the idea of the grind or the hustle or hard work, those are all like words that make me feel icky. But actionable steps, you know, achieving my goals,
so
those feel like positive, empowering words to me. So those are the words I want to use when I'm talking about like accomplishing what I've set my mind to.
So I want to introduce this journal that Tasha got me for Christmas. And I
bought myself one too.
Tasha was so good at buying herself gifts this year. She bought me reusable Ziploc bags, folks. She bought me the best.
In case anyone doesn't know, Dave packs me my lunches almost every day, and it's the sweetest, most loving thing that he does.
The best gift you bought me was, well, there's a lot, and I'll go through them as we talk about this journal, but the best gift was a folding step ladder, so I can now reach the top shelf of the cupboard, which is where all the baking supplies are. So it's your way of saying, here, get me chocolates faster. No, but I appreciate those. Those were throwaway gifts. I appreciate them. The one I love the most, I'm actually using on my laptop right now, is this laptop pillow. And I posted these all on Vlogmas if you haven't seen those YouTube videos. But this is a way for me to use my laptop while it is sitting on my lap, but it's got a built-in pillow attached to it. And it's also with this like high-end kind of like barnyard wood look. So it's and it really was actually at a good deal. I think it was only $35 or something like that. So really, I was really happy with that. I was really happy with my TRX cords, which we used for the first time today, which is like a home gym. And it was kind of a pricey thing for me to ask for, but I knew they always say like, get something nice, even if it's a smaller thing, than buying a whole bunch of junk. And,
yeah, or don't be afraid to like put your one bigger ticket item on the list if it's something that's like really important to you, or that you're going to use
buy anyway, like
that you wouldn't buy yourself.
So for you, I got you that bralette. Are you wearing it right now?
I sure am.
Can you give a peek?
No.
Throw him a nipple. So we got to get some views. So the bralette I got at Aloe, which was a very expensive store, and per ounce was probably more expensive than your engagement ring. But I was like, oh, it's good quality, and I'm sure there's just as good quality at a lesser price. But it's like the idea of, are you gonna love wearing this? And my buddy Jonathan, he would always spoil himself, and he would always get himself something really nice, or he'd be like, I just want to feel that nice like feeling of like wealth and abundance around him. And I value that versus like my poor old stepdad, who's doing really well in life, but he won't spend $20 on a pair of sneakers. It's just like, it drives me insane. But that's like, he's a child of the World War II parents. So it's like, he just can't have like a nice shoe.
Getting into, money mindset is one of the most complicated things out there. I think that there are probably coaches who specialize in money mindset, because in the same way we have to kind of convince ourselves that we deserve success, we deserve to be treated well in life, we deserve to have our heart's deepest desires. I think a lot of people have to convince themselves that, having wealth isn't inherently evil. A lot of people confuse like the love of money is the root of all evil with money equals evil, which is not the case. But how was I getting at this? I was just saying that it's a little bit complicated. And for some people, I know for me, okay, so I moved to Los Angeles with the car that I had since I was 16.
A real beater, folks. A 3-door Saturn.
A Saturn SC2 with the third door that opened backwards, and that's where my brother's car seat was when he was little. Was that like little backwards door? But yeah, that car had given me a lot of years and a lot of miles, and I come from a family where if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and you drive your cars till they die at 200,000 plus miles. You use your things until you can't use them anymore. But my car would overheat, like something was wrong with the coolant. So I like couldn't even, it was like a risk to drive myself to Orange County. And it was like, definitely I was going to have to pull over on the side of the highway if I was driving to San Diego. And at the time I was doing a lot of print work in Orange County and San Diego. And my friend Cherub had to convince me, like, you deserve to have a car that makes you feel good. You deserve to have a car that is reliable. A shiny thing that you feel good when you show up to castings, knowing that you look good.
She's great for you. Because she definitely is that way, and she books a ton of commercials. And
yeah, but she had to, she helped me to change my mindset around what I deserve. And now I'm not saying, I also like really appreciate the FI mindset and lifestyle. And so I don't really believe
financial independence.
I don't believe in unnecessary spending. But I think that you have a point that sometimes you have to trick yourself into an outcome, right? You have to trick yourself into a mindset that's going to improve you in the long term.
Well, it's like in skiing.
So if that means buying yourself a nice new workout outfit to encourage you to go to the gym because you'll feel excited and empowered and you'll feel like you belong and you'll be, you'll feel good because you look good, then that's great. Go for it. If you need to buy a new car because your old one is gonna break down for good one of these days and you need to be convinced that you deserve to sit in a nice looking car, then good, go for it. If that's gonna help you book more work because your confidence level is higher.
It's interesting too, because it's hard to quantify when it comes to like jobs with what we have, where the scarcity mindset says just record the podcast on your iPhone, which I still recommend to people if they're hosting their own podcast. Your iPhone's got a pretty solid, just get in a sound treated area like a closet and you'll be good. But the point is that like you have to convince your brain in your kind of spirit that you're heading in a certain direction before it happens. When they teach you how to ski, they say look left and you'll start to drift that way. You kind of drift into the direction that you're looking, and that can be looking physically, but also just what you're setting your intentions to. And again, yeah, like,
or tricking your mind with your mood. You know the thing with the pencil? You put a pencil in your mouth. I'll show you like this. If you put a pen or a pencil in your mouth like this, it turns up the corners of your mouth, so your brain thinks you're smiling, and you'll be put in a better mood because smiling makes you feel better. So if you don't have it in you to actually just smile yourself, just stick a pin in your mouth.
There you go, folks. The wide way. Don't just stick it in like you're deep throating a taekwondo. But what's hard actually, as we talk about this, and I know we've been teasing it, we are going to talk about the journal, but what's hard is living together in a dainty studio. We both can only move as fast as the other will let us in different ways. So if and I say that sort of as a limitation, but I'd have to be a psychopath to just race forward if you're hung up on something and vice versa. So like we have to be, in relationships, you have to be on the same page with your kind of self-actualizing. I can be better at spearheading a certain thing, and you might be better at finessing something. You're better at details, and I'm better at just like, turn it on, let's fire it up, we're going. Like every single episode of the podcast is like, honey, I'm turning the button on, just get in here. But it's good to have differences, but also being on the same page spiritually is very tough because we have different hang-ups from the way we've had imprints on our life. Your parents grew up in the same cul-de-sac, essentially, call it a cul-de-sac, street, whatever, but they grew up in the same town, and here you are in Hollywood trying to like blow things up. My mom was a single mom. Every decision she wants me to make is like the safest decision in the world, and she is a spiritual lady to an extent, but she still like wants, parents give you one, they want the worst, they want the safest thing for you, and sometimes you need to take the most bold risks. And we're both at a place where I think we've looked at that crossroads of like, do we go with safety or pursue our dreams? And we just blew that stop sign. We blew it, honey. And we're at that point where it's like, well, you might as well go all in if you're going to live a life that's not going to be dependent on a salaried position or on certain other things. It's like, if we are the export, we got to go all in on it. So it's important to have all your ducks in a row if you're pursuing a life that's outside the realm of just an hourly employee or salary or whatever it is. Because they'll show like, people get into their 50s, they've reached that top of the quote unquote like chain of command, and they're like, what was I doing with my life? What was the passion? What were the dreams?
Everybody's values are different, and that's something that's important to like recognize in yourself. What do you truly value the most? And even though we blew through the security stop sign, I still do really value security in my life, but I think I've found it in other ways. I've have a nice steady partner of almost 7 years.
5+ folks.
And
yeah, we're going on lucky 7s.
I have, like I mentioned earlier, lived a frugal lifestyle, and
I'll interrupt you because it's a compliment, and Tasha will let you interrupt her if it's a compliment. But you gave me one of the best affirmations I've ever received on Christmas evening. You said I was perfect for you. I took it as you saying I was perfect, but you were saying I was perfect for you. But that, and again, I'm giving you the compliment because for you to be brave enough to tell me that is a very vulnerable thing for you to do. And knowing you, the more I've known you, the more I've cherished the moments where you get real like that. Because I think it's one thing if you're like some city slicker who tells everyone what they want to hear, but that took a lucky 70% of a decade for me to get the perfection out of you. Whoa, Tasha Marie. But we we challenged ourselves. I'm sorry, I don't know what point you were even making.
I don't
But
either. I don't remember what I was
apologize,
talking about.
folks. It was a compliment. You're allowed to cut off your partner when it's a compliment. But we challenged ourselves, and this year, Christmas time was a very specific challenge because you value so much being with your family. And I predicted all sorts of breakdowns. And honestly, this was some of the most level-headed you've ever been. So I don't know if it's around the corner or what. But the idea that we were able
Look at
to...
how well balanced I am when I'm not working 100 hours.
Could it be the white wine, everybody? So again, we're jumping all over, but we're going to steer this ship. Let Santa Claus guide these reindeer. But pull the can out. Where's the can? So a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we were at Walmart and they had 12 cans of Christmas.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's over there. 12 days of wine from Tasty, the internet people. And
just 12 ounces, 12-ounce cans.
Well, it's 12 cans, which is 2 glasses. So it's 6 bottles of wine.
It's 140
basically,
ounces.
it's a pack of wine, and it's 12 days of Christmas. You do your 12 wines of Christmas, but they wanted $70 for this box.
70 plus.
And when I first saw it on the end cap, I was like, ooh, and then I saw the price tag and I was like, absolutely not. But we were at Walmart a few days ago, the day before Christmas, actually, returning the lights that we didn't use, and it was marked down manager special to $20. So I jumped on that and stuck it under the tree, and now here we are enjoying day 3 of wine.
Which it's only the second day we've done it, but we've doubled up on wines today.
Yeah, we had a lunch wine.
Hey, we had a lunch wine. It's Sunday. You have a lunch wine. So if you're wondering why Tasha's feeling extra generous, it's the rosé and the Sauvignon Blanc that's in there. She doubled up. But I love that we're in that phase of the relationship where instead of impressing each other with 12 days of wine on the appropriate days, it's like, all right, we'll just wait a week and a half. We'll show it. It's like we're almost more like our love language is now timely deals. we're at the timely deals of love.
Saving money.
Yeah, it's like, honey, I could have gotten you this Valentine's Day chocolate last week, but
I'm trying to have a fully funded retirement account and save for a house.
There you go. There you go. So anyway, I shared a few gifts that we got, but of course, one of the most thoughtful gifts was this book, which is called the I Am Journal, Manifest Your Burning Desire. On the cover, it says, I am grateful, I am joyful, I am abundant, I am successful, I am worthy, and then it says, I am blank. I put Dave, but I think you were supposed to put something else, but since we both got a copy, so I thought it'd be smart if I put Dave in front of mine so we're not mixing each other's journals up.
I heard, actually, I think it was Sophia Spallino, who is one of my internet friends and heroes on Instagram and TikTok. I think she must have posted this on her story. It was a mantra, but it was like, some people have it easy. Some people make lots of money. Some people find success, whatever, in life. I am some people. And so I think it's very appropriate that you wrote your name on the book. I am grateful, joyful, abundant, successful, worthy. I am me.
I'm Dave.
I'm Tasha.
Dave. I'm not David. Don't go calling me David unless you're my sister. Yelling at me. David Coleman. No one wants to hear it. We earlier were talking about how the starving artist, and this is the exact opposite because it's I am, je suis. I am is in the present and how important it is. And guys, folks, if you have to understand when it comes to laws of affirmation, I always enjoyed the book The Secret, but to me it was always a coloring book to what it actually is. The law of attraction is like begets like. It's on the metaphysical level, it's on the astronomical level. It's everywhere inside of us that electrons are trying to join up and pair up, and loving energy wants loving energy, and negative energy attracts negative energy. We all know energy vampires. We've all dated them. We've all had them as bosses and best friends, and maybe we've been that person to others, and it's important to recognize it when you see it. Loving energy is like a radio signal that's your best signal. No matter where you're driving, you turn that on and you can broadcast that and you can hear it. And not only can you hear it, other cars can receive it. And it's one of those things, your loving energy as the highest frequency is the energy that resounds with everyone. It uplifts others. It attracts others. So when you love what you do, you can't get into being a anesthesiologist if you don't love medicine or You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you're going to make a lot of money. Your parents will tell you it's a safe thing to do, but there's nothing safe about putting a gun to your head because, no, but seriously, like how many people.
That took a dark turn.
How many lawyers commit suicide in cops and other people? There's certain professions that people end up hating what they do. It brings them zero joy. They see no way out. And the suicide rate's so much higher. And don't get me wrong. I mean, it's also there's also other reasons. With stand up, the suicide rate's pretty abysmal. But that's because it's a drug and alcohol and it's a dark art as it were. But the point is that you have to do what you love in life and then find a way to make that kind of make you money. Let's say it's because currency is all made up anyway, right? It's just a standard we set. So how do you turn this arbitrary thing like a dollar bill, and how does that become? How do you get paid to make people laugh? To me, the first $20 I ever made doing stand up was the most mind blowing thing in the world. To receive that $20, pretend like because at the comedy clubs they would have the bartender pay you out. He was like the manager, so you'd sign the check and you'd sign like a tab and he'd give you like $20 or $25 in cash, and then you'd have to pretend to act cool as you just put it in your pocket. But then you'd get around the corner and you'd be like, what? And that's worth more than $1,000 any day of the week because of the way it's received. And do you remember the first time you were able to turn something you loved into money and just like had awe about it? Can you think of an example? I mean, you were kind of doing some fun things early on in life, but like in the fashion world or what was your first modeling paycheck? Where not like I know you did it as a kid, but what was your first modeling paycheck where you're living alone and like you got that and you're gonna go put that in the bank, like that's yours?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really.
You don't have like a moment where you were just like, wow.
Really specific. You actually, what really gets me going is getting paid to make travel content. Like getting paid to travel as a model is so much fun.
Well, and indirectly, that beer company that paid you was a result of you putting in the work to build your following. And that was a fun example where, and by the way, I had to buy the beer. I had to go, I paid for the 6-pack of beer, and I had to throw
They reimbursed.
I had to throw they reimbursed you. I didn't get any money out of it. But I had to you took an Instagram photo and they were like, what's your rate? And you were just talking about numbers and you're like, what, doubled whatever you thought they would have said yes to. And they're like, all right. And I was like, oh, there's a currency here to doing what you love to do. And that might not have been like the end all dream for you, but you were able to turn something you had built up on your own and then kind of monetize it in a certain way. So this book that you bought me and you bought yourself, which I truly am so happy you bought, is going to do a lot to us this year. And I wanted to talk about it this episode because it's the week before New Year's and it's time for people to get on board. But it's only got about maybe 10 pages or so that kind of explain 20 pages. Really, that 30. Many pages? Did I get through all those?
Yeah, no, here I am on page 31 of 35 before the journaling actually starts.
If anyone pays real close attention to our podcast or to Tasha's content, you'll know that you've been looking for a very specific way to journal. Kind of like a fill-in-the-blank Mad Lib.
Well, I've been asking for a workbook. I've been asking for recommendations. I've gotten a lot of great recommendations, but nothing was exactly what I wanted. This really isn't even exactly what I wanted, but it comes close in that it's a fill-in-the-blank. Do I wish it had a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, Dave? Like variety? Yes, because it does. This journal is repetitive. And that's the point of it, is to get you to like really hone in on your burning desire statement, what you want to attract for the year, what's your top priority, how are you going to get there. It asks you to talk about gratitude.
Well, let's talk about it. So
okay.
It's essentially a morning and evening ritual. And again, let's not kill ourselves if we miss a day or two or even a week. Because we understand what resistance is. You felt it this morning when I was like, babe, did you get your burning desire written? And you were like, it's not completed. It's like, yeah, no crap, it's not. It's day one. It's all right. It's okay. Mine's super, I'm going to share it with people, but mine is super botchy and clunky, and I'm okay with that.
It's day one, morning
day
one. You're
Yeah,
allowed to.
I'm not.
It's going to be refined by the time you get to the end of this book.
So essentially, and I'll explain what a burning desire statement is. But you write in your every 1 page a day, 1 page for morning, 1 page for evening. Your burning desire statement. You write it down. When you write things, magical stuff happens. You're looking at it. You're sounding it out in your head. You're doing the action of saying. It's very good to write. And in today's world, we don't write nearly as much. I bought Tasha a dozen. You were saying, so you were like, Tasha's very, very finicky with certain things, if you haven't noticed, and she's really wants a Sharpie gel pen. It's a new brand that came out.
It's not a new brand.
You go, I need to do this with a good pen. I can't do it with this pen, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me.
Listen, I went on the hunt for a nice pen that felt right in my hand, that felt right for this book, and I couldn't find one.
Well, this pen is coming on Tuesday on Amazon Prime. We have a pen coming, folks. We have a dozen of the best Sharpie gel pens, medium 0.7 millimeter felt tip pens. So you say your burning desire statement, then it's what intentional actions will you make today to attract it? You list 3. How do you feel while making these conscious efforts? And then you say, I am. And then for the evening, it's more, what am I grateful for? And in the evening, it's good to be grateful for things because it's your way of saying, these are the things that I have. This was what makes me happy. And then you go to bed and your subconscious just stews in all the things that you have and things that make you happy. And let me tell you something, the world works in some weird ways, but letting your brain stew over gratitude is way better than stewing over what's tomorrow's to-do list. What am I missing?
So much of this kind of stuff, the experts say, happens while you are unconscious. It happens in your subconscious, on the subconscious level.
It's like muscle growth. You work out. You don't build muscle while you work out. You're just stretching the muscle. You're kind of shocking it, and then you go to bed. And then
one of the best things you can do is go to bed with a feeling of gratitude, which is one of the most powerful feelings for manifesting more things that you will be grateful for, right? So you get yourself set up with a feeling of gratitude right before bed, and then you just let your mind do the work. You've got that feeling of positivity, of abundance, of gratitude, and you're going to get more of those things. And so you're reiterating what's your burning desire statement, or your I am, the things you're grateful for, and your feelings. The feelings is the very important part. So in the morning, you say your burning desire statement. You write down your intentional actions you'll take each day to attract it, which is very important. SMART is actionable goals, right? How will you feel while making these conscious efforts?
All right, break this one down for us.
So
the feeling aspect of self-actualizing.
So you kind of touched on, but you didn't really get into the I am, right? You mentioned that we're not making future statements, we're making present statements, because a big part of this is like convincing yourself that you already have this thing that you want, right? So that it will come to you. And then the feelings associated with your burning desire statement, your want, are another way to help attract it to you. So for you, did you read your burning desire statement?
Well, then let me just explain what it is. So the burning desire statement is something that, and again, boy, for not being a sponsor, this book is going to get some good plug right now because we really are, we're all on board with this. Did I miss out where it is? So, 1 second. So the burning desire statement is something that it helps you come up with it by doing a few different exercises, of kind of like, when thinking of what your burning desire is, remember 2 things: be limitless. Focus on how it will make you feel. So, it's all about kind of like creating, it's like how a company has like a core statement, a core belief. A movie's got a core, like this is what it is. Well, what is yours? And by telling you to be limitless, it really does open the floodgates. And now I've had, as you know, some people call in recently that have been far, far too congratulatory towards me on the live stream. 2 calls from Australia. They've called in from South Africa. We know Sue's called in from the Northwest, and people have been far too nice where I'm like, oh my, like overwhelming. Like I feel like I'm in some sort of a church kind of seance where they're just all, like I'm just being thrown on the floor, shaking. And it's because they believe in me, and I need to accept that and think more limitless with what I want. So, they run through the workbook, and this is what I have completely botched. This is the beginning, but what is my burning desire? What is it that I want to do? I have a burning desire to feel love and joy by bringing laughter to a large number of people. As I increase my YouTube podcast, all that, I'll also be increasing the stages I perform on as the world opens back up. Money and all that come easily when you can reach that crowd. So it's not even like I want the money, but I want that joy of feeling heard and bringing people together.
So to back it up a little bit, when you were coming up with your burning desire statement, it asked you very simply, what are your wants? What are the things that you want in your life? For me, I wrote down travel. I wrote down wealth. I wrote down security, or like something about having a home. And
all right, do you want to just share yours? This is from page 23. I just saw it.
Okay, go ahead and read
Wealth, abundance, flexibility, and boy, can't read that. Flexible, be funnier, have my humor pay the bills, travel on my terms. Now pick the one thing you want to attract more than anything. This is your burning desire. And I wrote create wealth with my comedy. I mean, that's it. And it doesn't mean that it's just comedy, but it's, it's having fun and being jovial.
But on the next page, it asked you to break it down further. It asked you to associate the feelings, to identify the feelings that you associate with your burning desire. If you had this thing in your life, how would it make you feel? So for you, making money with comedy, what did you write down for how would it make you feel to have those things?
I want to feel elated by bringing people together to laugh.
Okay, because I just made a list. I put this on my Instagram today too, by the way.
And we encourage people, we'll put a link in the bio, but we encourage people to you don't have to buy the book. I mean, I think you could just do this with a gratitude journal.
Honestly, just saying 3 things you're grateful for every day is like leaps and bounds.
I used to do a gratitude journal, but there is something toxic about just saying, oh, I'm grateful for this. It's like, what do you want? What can you do that doesn't hurt others? And most things don't hurt others. You traveling isn't stopping anyone else from doing their thing. You want to explore and live your life and all that. And I do too. But I also want to bring people together in a way that's like, the community that happened with my live stream, as small as it is, everyone says goodbye to each other as the live stream ends. And it's like, what the hell? This is so cool. Like, people enjoy being there. And it's not just about me. It's about whenever I go back to New York, pre-COVID, when I'm doing my stand-up shows, a lot of my friends are all coming together. We're all laughing. We're sharing in the good times. What a world it would be if that's what was driving me versus in the past doing the 40 to 50 hours a week of side gigs just to float by. Well, I've done that time, and let's treat this life as like there's a bigger and by what I've seen this summer with what YouTube can do to your content, I've seen the ability to reach literal global audience, and I've only seen it on the cusp of what it is, and I've been blown away by it. So I see that there is the ability to have this bigger audience while I share my message, and in some crazy way, we might find out that your love for travel comes along with playing shows in Scotland, taking a vacation in Tahiti, and there's going to be some real untangling that happens where I think it's all going to work out for us.
But I think if we were to guide people into setting this up for themselves, then our advice would be to write down, what are your goals? What are the things you want? What are the things you desire in your life? Rank them, prioritize them. What's the number one thing? Okay, that's it. That's what we're going for. That's what we're going to focus on right now. Identify the feelings that you would associate with having accomplished this goal. So for me to be able to travel, that would give me feelings of comfort, security, adventure, fulfillment, relaxation, abundance, joy, peace. Those are the feelings I associate with, traveling and accomplishing.
Well, can I just pick your brain within that?
Sure.
I want, what is it and again, this is nothing accusatory here. What is it within the traveling that you love the most? Is it being a fly on the wall in a bigger scenario? Is it not feeling like the average? Like what is it about?
No, I think it's I find I feel very fulfilled when I'm like in a new place or experiencing a new culture, a new thing. I find it very comforting.
So you're
I find
running
it very exciting.
You're running from a norm, just like the rinky dink status quo.
I mean, maybe that's part of it, you know, feeling like you're on vacation, but it's also like a time that, like, even though, for example, when we were in Thailand last year, you know, we did a lot. We filled our days with activities,
we got engaged. Right? You did it. Your boy did it.
Even though we filled our days with activities, I felt rejuvenated, right? There's something about that is exciting, that is invigorating purpose for me.
Yeah.
So those are the feelings that I want to identify and hold on to, so that then I can start to focus on those feelings in my everyday life, because that's how you are going to amplify your message to the universe that I want to manifest this goal. I'm going to seek out things that make me feel those ways, and I'm going to avoid things that make me feel not those ways.
Henry David Thoreau. Live the life you have imagined. We lack an imagination in society, and part of that is the limitations of like being sold on this is the American dream, being sold on you got to make this company rich and they'll pay you off, being sold on certain things. We lack that imagination that is what kind of like founded us in this like industrial revolution, where like we do come from like there are beautiful things in our country. You know, we're the first to knock it. Just, you know, I've heard country compared to family. Like you'll be the first to knock your family, but don't let someone else talk trash. No, I'm not gonna, no one's going to make fun of my sister and my mom like me. I'm allowed to. I earned that right. And the same thing is like our country's got a lot of flaws to it, but it is a very entrepreneurial place where like we do live in a world where people did, you know, build their worlds out of seemingly nothing. And I think I think humans are sort of intended to do that, to create. And yet we've been controlled in a way to keep us limited. Does that make sense?
Sure. So
like I guess the way the questions I'm asking you, it's like, how can you overcome? Because there is an actual, stand-up's kind of crazy where people think, you know, you don't see someone until they have a special, but there is a roadmap to like living in extreme abundance, because it's a very do-it-yourself world, but you don't have record labels taking money from you. It's very simple. Like, can I get butts in the seats to hear me talk? You'll do very well if you can. So while it might sound like this world is kind of fleeting and dangerous, you'd have to get, the way I've heard it described is like, you'd have to get every comedy club in the country would have to fire you for you to lose your income. And the same is with like you. Like if you control the equity that is Tasha, no one can fire you. No one can tell you what to do. You know what I mean? Like no one can tell you, no, you've got to take this job. You've turned down jobs that other people would have been so happy for, but it just wasn't right for you. And you get that executive decision-making skills because you've invested the equity in having that that ability.
Yeah, and I think I've got a pretty clear like roadmap for my priorities.
By the way, your eyes started to glaze, and I think it's the wine, but it could have been something else. I couldn't tell for sure, and I'm not opposed to it right now. Tasha, get her day 4 of the wine. So we're on. So what's your burning desire statement? You've taken, and by the way, I give you a lot of credit, and I want people who listen to really think about how tough it can be to share deep, dark dreams. It's not easy. And that's kind of part of the kicking the doors down, is being able to share them. And you might have things that are intimate to you and you don't feel the need to, but you might want to call your mom and be like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. This is who I am. This is me coming out of the closet entrepreneurially or whatever it is. So what's your burning desire? And I know it's a rough draft, but what are you working at?
I didn't write it yet.
You didn't write it?
I don't have my new pen yet.
You waiting for the new pen? Resistance, folks.
No, but I did take the first steps, and I wrote down my my top 3 desires, and then
just write them all. Like you don't have to have.
No, I did, and then I wrote down all of the feelings, and I feel like that's a good first step.
Are you gonna do your gratitude tonight?
Yeah, sure.
I don't want it to be one of those things where like couples workouts where like the guy gets skinny and the wife hates the guy for getting skinny. I say that as the obvious overweight person here.
No, that's not what it is at all. I'm very excited about this and I feel committed to it. It's not 100% what I wanted in a workbook, but I am very pleased and I'm definitely on board and I'm going to take these actionable steps right here.
Boy, we thought we were entrepreneurial before this pandemic, but it's like, man. And I'll tell you what, I've never been less stressed about it working out. And I think that's a very big opportunity for me to be like, oh, and we've said this mantra before. Wouldn't it be nice if it all worked out? Now that still has a little bit of a negative, like whatever, but isn't it nice that it's all working out? It's kind of a nice one. Isn't this crazy that it's just all working out? It's just all coming together in a way in which we had desired. And Tasha, I struggle with this. I struggle with my wanting to be inspirational and my wanting to be funny. And I'm not saying they can't be intertwined. I for sure never want to be a motivational speaker, at least in the sense where you're trying to sell people
Go to
things.
high school gyms.
Yeah, I don't want to go to high school gym unless you want to. I'll tell jokes. If you want to hear jokes, go to high school gyms. But there is something like, there are like, it is an avenue for a lot of comics where they get
There's
into
no
that.
reason you can't be both, honey.
No, but my point is that I struggle with, one of the core tenets of jokes, stand-up is tell me what's wrong with something. So I can look at it, and this is one of the pillars of our relationship is, and I think a lot of couples will agree, is us shitting on other things. Nothing bonds a couple like shitting on other couples or other things. I mean, we really enjoy. So I don't think that's a negative energy. Like we don't do it to people's faces,
No,
but it's like
it's very different. There's a difference between.
You're nursing your drink, by the way. And let's
Absolutely
do it.
not. I've been sucking it down.
The audience is going to need to hear this. Do it closer to my mic right here.
It was plenty loud.
That was a good one. That was very nice.
Okay, about shitting on things or just comedy being sort of one of those things that's like identifying everything that's wrong, that's having gripes, that's calling out stuff, right? Comedy, there's a lot of comedy that stems from that, right? What's the guy on HBO?
John Oliver?
No.
Bill Maher?
No. The old guy with white hair, tall guy.
Tall old guy on HBO.
Yeah, Jewish. He's had a fun.
Jay Leno? He's
No.
not on HBO. Tall. Oh. Seinfeld's creator. What's his name?
Yeah.
Oh
that
my
guy.
God, Larry David.
Larry David, right? He's very like.
How anti-Semitic of a description. Do you call him a tall Jewish guy? Well, I guess that's not
white
really.
hair, old.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would say. It's on the movie poster.
A lot of his comedy is gripes, right? Gripes are funny. Everyone identifies with gripes, but I think there's a difference between like having a gripe that eats you inside and like noticing something that's weird or a little bit off or wrong or something that you can gripe about just because it's silly and being able to laugh at it. And that's totally different thing. It really is. It comes down to the feelings. Is it a gripe that makes you angry or is it a gripe that you can laugh at?
That's a good way to look at it. Yeah, because I've got jokes where I'm the guy who yells, in the joke. I'm the mad person. But those jokes bring me as much happiness as anything else. So yeah, that's a good point. Like, it's not something I lose sleep over, but you do worry about this idea that the troubled artist, the real, that's the person who has all the talent, really, And it's like, and in some weird way, we're all messed up in our own ways, and some people, I've had again, I'm not saying this to like brag, but I've got some really weird things that have stuck with me from like lack growing up that I think is enough fuel to pursue all of that. And I think I hide it because I think I look pretty well off. I'm not saying I'm like a, like a psycho, but the other day when you were talking about how sad it was that I never had like grandparents growing up, and or like didn't have a dad growing up, and like it doesn't take you don't need to have like your family massacred by lions to like really know strife.
Boy, you're going to some dark places today, honey.
Well, we just watched that
dumb movie.
We just watched a movie last night with
terrible CGI.
Megan Fox, where they a lot of lions are murdering people. I actually recommend
The movie opened with human trafficking, and like that could have been the theme of the movie.
Well, it opened with lions being trafficked in anyway, I don't want to give it away, but it's one to watch, folks.
Killer lions.
The point killer lions. The point is
Anaconda 2.0.
It really was a good Anaconda movie. But the point is that, you know, I've got enough. I probably have enough things I need to work through that I can be my version of a troubled artist. And I don't mean to say that I'm trying to hold on to like pain in my life. I'm trying very much not to. But like with the whole grandparents, you were like, yeah, you don't even know what you're missing. I was like, yeah, I don't. So like, I don't feel bad for not growing up with a dad or any grandparents in my life. I just don't know what it was. I had like coaches that gave me extra attention. My mom always said, like, you know, because my mom would always sneak God in or a spirit in some way into any. And I remember from an early age, like literally, I'm 8 and my mom's having this talk with me, and I remember my mom being like, you know, because you don't have a dad in your life, that's God's spending extra attention on you. and I ran with that. So like I always looked for chances to and it was probably true that coaches would see me as like the kid who didn't have a dad, so they would like give me extra attention, and I did get a lot of that love growing up in life. I just didn't get it in the traditional form, which would be your grandparents looking over you. Like, they just didn't exist. And maybe I'll be like the best granddad ever because of it. You know what I mean? Who knows? Like, who knows what I'll be based off of lack. But anyway, I don't know where I got off on that, but it is interesting when you were like feeling bad for me in a nice way. But I was like, yeah, honey, look, I just don't feel bad for me because I just don't know what it's like. But seeing how your grandmothers were so positive in your life was very special for me because I got to meet them before they passed, and that really meant a lot that I got to see, like, I got to see your family where your parents aren't divorced and, like, you know, grandparents. It's like, what's this all about? And that's kind of it's been nice to see that my life might not have been the most normal and all that. But anyway, so we're excited to do this journal. We're mentioning it to others, so we hold ourselves up to it. Maybe, you know, if it ever collects dust, let's not just hate ourselves for it. All you can do when it comes to the war of art, when it comes to resistance, is try to open up that page. If you're trying to edit something, just open up the editing software. You'd be surprised how far you get if you just open up that damn page or unlock the code on your iPad. Why are you laughing? You look stoned over there.
No, I agree with you.
You know what I mean? Isn't it doesn't so much magic happen when we just turn the button on with the thing we're working on?
Yeah, just opening the computer is the hardest thing when it comes to writing vlogs.
Or even the right tab, just getting on the right tab. You're like, when I got some Reddit internet news to watch over, I got to go figure out this political situation in Darfur, whatever. I mean,
we live in a world that has a lot of distractions. So, you know, don't be too hard on yourself, especially when, like, just like for me anyway, and I think for lots of other people, our work is on our phones. And so is Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
So hard.
It's it's hard to manage your time and to manage your energy and to manage your efforts. But
you know, the other thing
if you can get a handle on that, really unlimited potential.
And that's limitless. It really is. And the thing that when you talk about ending the night with a positive thought of gratitude, how can that possibly happen when you're looking at your phone? I mean, I'm not calling you out. I'm the same way. I've been, man, this whole year, you know, you don't have to get, and don't get me wrong. Most days when I'm releasing content, I got to wake up at 7 a.m. because I gotta do the final tags and description and titles before I release at 8 a.m. So this whole vlogmas and all these other things, I normally do wake up early. But when you don't have some work to go to, or you don't have something, next thing you know, like we're watching this show about this, these families that live in the northeastern Alaskan, It's
a good show. I watched about 4 episodes of sleep.
What is it called? We Are the Last or something?
The Last Alaska. Alaskans.
The Last Alaskans. Tasha's watching it till sunrise, and it's like,
I woke up on the couch at 7:30 when I moved my arm and it crunched. I was sure I broke my shoulder when I woke up on the couch at 7:30.
Anyone else out there treating the Christmas holidays like it's end of March, early quarantine? How crazy was that early quarantine? Like every night was a snow night, and you had no parents saying you should probably go to bed by now.
It's fun. No, this is allowed. This is the only other time of year where it's allowed, that space between Christmas and New Year, because a lot of people take that week off. Not me.
But the fact that we haven't traveled this year for Christmas, it's December 27th as we record this. It's Sunday night. We've gotten more accomplished in the last 48 hours, even with staying up till 7 a.m. watching the Alaskans, than we ever would get. And I'm not saying we shouldn't. We need to take.
Well, they're different things. When we're traveling, we are prioritizing time with family and fun and relaxation and unplugging and getting away from work. So
but we had I released that video today, this Bachelor video, and then Jen commented, "I thought you were going to take a break," and I was like. I did. I took 40 hours off. Do you know what it feels like to take 40 hours off when you're nonstop going? I'm like, 40 hours off felt amazing. So, but anyway, we are. Let us know what you guys think. I know a lot of people have. We've got a real loyal following out there. We really do, because I know a lot of you guys will look into this book. And again, it's. I'm going to be honest. It's $21.95, and it's really just a journal. So if this isn't something that you want to invest your energy into, buy a blank journal and come along with us for the process. I'm not trying to bootleg this book here, but you can figure this out. You don't need the book, but I do appreciate this.
For full disclosure, this was a Facebook ad funnel sale. This got me on a Facebook ad funnel, which I'm fine with. Like I said, I asked for a ton of recommendations about affirmation workbooks, and I got some recommendations. I didn't get a lot, but obviously Google got my search history, and they started targeting me with ads for journals on Facebook. And I looked at a lot of them. A lot of them were subscriptions, which was so annoying.
I bet you really ruminated over this decision. I bet you really weighed your pros and cons.
No, I think when I found this one, I was like, oh, this is the best one I've seen so far, and I just decided to go with it.
Tasha,
so I'm happy with this purchase. I did see another journal pop up in a Facebook ad after buying this one. It's a tarot card journal, which I think would be exciting to have too, but I don't want to have too many workbooks going on at one time.
This was better than a tarot card journal.
I also need to buy not for you, not for this, just for me, for fun. But I also need to pick out my planner for 2021. So if anyone has any planner recommendations, I've been using Bloom planners for the past few years, and I really like them. I did hear some excellent thing about Passion planners. So if you have used Passion Planner and you like them, let me know. Or if there are any other planners out there, my only
Google
requirements
Calendar
are weekly pages. I like weekly. I like to have room to write all my stuff. So, hit me up with your planner recommendations. If Bloom wants to sponsor me or Passion Planners wants to sponsor me, I'm cool with that too.
We are open to sponsorships. Find a way to find us. I like to make them work for it. Find a way to find us. This app is on Instagram at @the.sap. Tasha's in charge of the Instagram. Oh, she's looking at me right now. That's Tasha's in charge of that. Manifest that, baby. We've got a lot of good content coming our way. I'm actually really excited. I never tease a guest before they come on, but I'm really excited that we're gonna have a member of my Bachelor live streams come on who lives near us. We've got people on these Bachelor live streams I started doing this season that are as far, like I said, from Australia to South Africa, Brazil, the UK, all of Canada. They're all over the place. And she lives just blocks away from us. And she has a really fun story about how she's been surviving quarantine. Her name's Lisa. So she's going to be on the podcast soon. We'll have to get a rooftop episode when it's not too cold. And we got a lot of other content coming out. And I hope you guys can appreciate that we are trying our best this whole year to keep the podcast a beacon of love and alive in a time when no one's driving to work. And while I'm not going to complain that the podcast has lost a percentage of listeners on the download side, the YouTube has been through the roof. So any losses we got from the audio only, which is basically people in their cars, has been amplified by the love we found on YouTube. So I appreciate all of you guys, and I appreciate you guys sticking with us into the Patreon community. That's the extra solo episodes. Patreon.com/thesap, PatreonEon.
patreon.com/THESAP. And you guys, it's been amazing how supportive you all have been. It really has driven us. And I will just say this. What I love about this journal is that it takes away a level of resistance from you, because resistance happens when we don't see the structure in what we want to accomplish. It's not a paint by numbers thing, but it is a ability to kind of fill in the blank. Like, now you're going to put your burning desire. Now you're going to do this. And that's a good training wheel for self-actualizing. So
and just repetition, like we said, really honing in on what it is that we want, how we're going to get there.
But what's going to be tough is we do spend a lot of nights kind of passing it on the couch. This would be something we do before we get to that point where it's 3 a.m. We're watching Alaskans all night.
Listen, you just gave me a light bulb idea. A lot of people pray before meals. What if before dinner we just filled out our thing?
Our gratitude, our end of the night. That's a great idea. We should leave it. These should not go into a bookshelf. These books should stay out and present on our desks and all that. And let us know about your journey. 2021 is going to be a year of extreme growth, folks. Extreme growth. We look forward to hearing your journey. Shout out to our new friends like Leah over there. I think she's in Michigan. She's the one who shares three things she's grateful for every day. She's got kids, she's wrapping presents, and she still has time to shout out what she's grateful for. So we really love seeing those stories, and we're really ready to grow with you. So anyway, time to get out of here. She's Tasha Courtney at Tasha Courtney. I'm Dave Neal at DNeals, DNEALZ. Our travel blog is We Are Tada Travels. And a lot of new articles that have been posted during quarantine that are on there as we kind of wait for the gates to open on life. Any other things you want to say?
Nope.
All right, time to finish that white wine. Bye, everybody.